WSAV News 3 on your side, your local election headquarters, presents this Savannah Municipal Election Candidate Forum. Now, here's your host, Tina Tyashaw.
I am WSAV News 3's Tina Tyashaw, here to welcome you to today's forum featuring candidates for the Alderman-at-Large posts in the Savannah upcoming municipal election happening on November 7th. And today's forum is sponsored by the Tourism Leadership Council, the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Business Association here in Savannah, and WSAV News 3 on your side. The first candidates that we have today are Alderman-at-Large Post 2 candidates, Incumbent Alicia Miller-Blakely and her challenger, Patrick Rossiter. Candidates, you will all, as you get those claps, you will both have up to 1 minute to answer the question that we provide for you here this morning. And you will have 30 seconds rebuttal. Candidates, right now we begin with an introduction. 1 minute to share with the voters who you are and what you stand for in your opening statements. Remember, 1 minute. We will begin in alphabetical order. Alicia Miller-Blakely, we start with you.
Thank you. Hello, Savannah. Hello, Tourism Leadership Council, Chamber of Savannah, of Chatham County, and our Downtown Neighborhood Association. I am Alderwoman Alicia Miller-Blakely, your Alderwoman at Large for Post 2 for the beautiful city of Savannah. I am a veteran of the United States Army. I'm a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, and a pillar in our community. I am serving on City Council because I want to see change. I want to see real change. I want to effectuate change. We've had obstacles since we've been elected, but I'm allowed to go back, which I know I will be allowed to go back. We're going to do what we need to do in order to move our city forward, not just for a select group of people, but for all of the citizens here in this beautiful city.
Patrick Rossiter, now your opening statement.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tina. My name is Patrick Rossiter, born and raised in Savannah, Georgia. 39-year educator. Spent the first 14 years in teaching and coaching. Returned back to Savannah to start my administrative career. I served as assistant principal at Jenkins, principal at Myers, assistant and principal at Durham, head of adult education for 9 years, handling every dropout in 4 counties, and finally Garden City, before going to Tybee to start the charter school at the Tybee Maritime Academy. I'm running for office because I'm all about safe neighborhoods. I'm all about affordable and workforce housing here in this community. And most importantly, I'm all about good jobs. We are about to embark on the greatest economic opportunity that this city has ever seen. I think we need city leaders who are going to be able to grab that and make sure we're in the best position.
Thanks, you both. We will begin now with our question portion of this forum. And those questions or topics will come from this hopper. I want you to know, candidates, that you will have up to 1 minute to answer, to share your statement on the topic, and there will be rebuttal for your challenger. And that rebuttal is 30 seconds. We do encourage you both to make sure that you stick to the topics because we have our voters here, our viewers as well, watching on WSAV.com, and we want to make sure that they know exactly where you stand on the issues that are important to them. We will begin. The first topic has been drawn. We're going in alphabetical order still. Alicia Miller-Blakely and Patrick Rossiter. This is the first topic of discussion today. Transparency of government. Why is that so important? We begin with you, Alicia Miller-Blakely.
Transparency of government is very important When we got elected to let the voters know that we wanted to make them a part of the government system. As a matter of fact, a lot of people thought that we were a little radical and rowdy, but whenever you want to effectuate real change, you're going to upset folks. You're going to upset that apple cart. And that's what we've been doing. We've gotten more people engaged in the political process here in the city of Savannah than we ever have. We've actually engaged the citizens that would not normally be a part of the political process by educating them and enlightening them on how our city government is supposed to operate. I believe in transparency. I've been very transparent as far as our political process is concerned, and when I go back, I'm going to continue.
Mr. Rossiter, your statement on transparency of government, 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. Government by nature should be transparent. Government for the people, by the people. So they should be involved in every aspect of it. What I'm going to do, bringing my talents to City Hall, is use my collaborative abilities to bring more people into the process. Make sure everyone's involved in the various aspects of government as we improve services and work toward those safe neighborhoods, work toward addressing the housing issue here in Savannah.
Staying with you, Mr. Rossiter, we will continue. The next topic, historic preservation. You have 1 minute. Historic preservation.
Historic preservation. Savannah is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. We have the largest landmark district of any city in Savannah, and it's vitally important that we maintain that for the generations to come. Historic Savannah has done an excellent job. The other organizations involved in the preservation of properties in Savannah have done an excellent job. We need to continue to make sure that we support those efforts. Thank you.
Historic preservation is very important to me, especially African American history and preservation. I've noticed in our city that we don't do a lot of preserving the history of African Americans. I had the opportunity on yesterday to go out to the Windsor Forest area, and I learned that that whole area out there used to be a bunch of plantation, praise houses, and worship areas. And
Alicia, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Patrick Rossiter, historic preservation?
He's done it already.
He's done it. Okay, we're going to move on now to our next question. We'll stick with you, Alicia. Zoning. 1 minute for your statement on zoning.
Thank you. Zoning is very, very interesting. With the new ZO being in place right now, a lot of things have changed. A lot of zoning issues are coming about. A lot of zonings have changed. Things that we were accustomed to is now different. My goal will be to educate our citizens, to let them know what they can and cannot do, and also to try and change some of the things that zoning has changed to make it better and more conducive for our citizens and constituents.
And Patrick Rossiter, 30 seconds for rebuttal.
Zoning laws are needed. They're important to any growing citizenry, any citizen or city rather. I will say that we need to make sure that we understand that zoning laws change as we go through the years to meet the needs of the city and the population, and I think we need to make sure that we stay current on all those and support those changes that need to happen.
We will continue now, sticking with you, Patrick Rossiter. Our next topic, property taxes for nonprofits such as SCAD, houses of worship, etc.
Property taxes in Savannah, the topics of various nonprofits in the city and the role that they play. There's no question, but keep in mind that the taxation in the United States is a federal, state, and to some degree local issue. when it comes down to nonprofits, we need to make sure that we support all the nonprofits, but we also need to understand that that taxation is a heavy burden on our downtown citizens, on every citizen. And so we need to make sure that we make every attempt to keep that in mind.
And Ms. Miller-Blakely, 30 seconds for rebuttal.
When you speak about SCAD, I'm very, very vocal about SCAD and taxation. I think that SCAD should pay something in lieu of taxes like other universities and schools do across the nation. Our churches, I can understand them being tax exempt, but an entity like SCAD, I feel they need to pay something in lieu of taxes. Thank you.
Sticking with our topics now, Ms. Miller-Blakely, traffic and congestion to Savannah, particularly downtown and Duren Avenue. You have 1 minute, ma'am.
Traffic in Savannah is an issue, especially in our neighborhoods where we've looked at them and not given them the just due as other communities have. We need traffic calming devices in our communities, in our marginalized communities. When you look at our city, you see traffic calming devices in other areas. And I know you asked about Duren and downtown. Duren and downtown, they're gonna be all right because there's something in place where they're gonna widen Duren, and we are now working on Broughton Street right now. But my concern is traffic calming devices in other areas of our city, in our marginalized areas, in our areas where the lost, the least, and the left out have been lost, left out, and not getting anything. Thank you.
Patrick Rossiter, 30 seconds, your thoughts.
Savannah's a planned city. I don't think Oglethorpe had visions of seeing the congestion that we run into in the city. The way the city's laid out, movement from west to east and north to south and vice versa, it sometimes can be difficult. But I think we need to keep in mind there are ways that we can work within our regulations. Traffic calming not only in the highly congested areas, but in the neighborhoods are vitally important.
Sticking with you, Patrick Rossiter, the next topic, the existing Civic Center and the Johnny Mercer Theater. 1 minute.
The Civic Center and the Johnny Mercer, the theater, the Martin Luther King Arena, I will tell you this, I think the Martin Luther King Arena has seen its usefulness. It was a great, just an absolutely great facility in its day. The theater, with renovations, can continue that in future. I would support that we find ways that we can keep portions of that building for the purpose of meeting the needs and helping with the arts here in Savannah.
And Ms. Miller-Blakely.
The Martin Luther King Arena is near and dear to a lot of our constituents' hearts. A lot of activities happen at the Martin Luther King Arena. Since we have the in-market arena, a lot of people cannot afford to rent the arena. So I think we should renovate the Martin Luther King Arena and use it as a catalyst for our constituents to have activities and events there. Thank you.
Sticking with you, Ms. Miller-Blakely. Next topic, police officer shortage. 1 minute.
We need to have a vision to bring more of our police officers, to bring more police officers to our city. We have to think outside of the box as far as recruitment is concerned. We've not done that. Safety is very, very important in our community, but we need more officers that's going to be able to do community policing. That has not been happening in our community in quite a while. We just have to be innovative when it comes to recruiting our officers. We have to give them incentives to want to come to our beautiful city. If we don't give them incentives, then they will not want to come.
In 30 seconds, Patrick Rossiter.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to applaud our mayor and council for the job that they've done in reducing that shortage by 1/3. I think it's critical. Safety is a fundamental responsibility of city government, And of course, our police department, we need to hire the best and train the best people for that position. So I would just say this, that the police shortage is something that as we can get more people up and trained, we'll see that dwindle away.
Next topic, Patrick Rossiter. 1 minute response, tourism growth.
Tourism growth. Here in Savannah, there's no question, the golden goose is tourism. We have millions of people coming to see our beautiful city. I think tourism growth is vitally important. I think that growth need not be at the expense of the neighborhood. I think we have regulations on the books that allow us to handle the growth of tourism in terms of number of buses and people and things of that nature. So I would support the enforcement of those regulations, and definitely would like to see an increase in tourism in the future, but not at the expense of the neighborhood.
And Ms. Miller-Blakely, in 30 seconds, your rebuttal.
Tourism growth is great. It's phenomenal. But what I'm concerned about where tourism is concerned is these individuals in this room that work for our tourism industry. I want them to be able to have a livable wage. I want them to not have to work 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs in order to pay their bills. I want us to love on our workers and our employees for the tourism industry the way we work on and love.
We will stick with you, Ms. Miller-Blakely. The next topic, the rights of property owners. You have 1 minute, up to 1 minute.
If you pay into a system, if you pay into a system of taxation, you should be getting a return on your investment. A lot of our citizens, we pay into the system, but we don't get the services that we are paying into. Certain areas get them. So if a property owner is paying taxes, let's be equitable across the board. Now, we voted to increase the millage rate. How in the world could we increase the millage rate and increase individuals' taxes when we are coming out of a pandemic? I want to let everybody in here know, I was not one of the ones that voted to increase the millage rate. I would not support an increase in any property taxes or in millage rates in the city of Savannah, on no levels. Thank you.
Mr. Rossiter, 30-second rebuttal.
Thank you. As far as millage rate increases, there were no millage rate increases, and the effort to roll back the millage was opposed by my opponent, or she was in favor of rolling it back. I would have supported keeping it as is and using that money for a problem we have in this city across the board, and that's drainage. So I will say that property owners, they have rights, but I will say this, when it comes down to things like bed and breakfasts, not bed and breakfasts, but vacation.
We are moving on now to the next topic, improvements in neighborhoods outside of downtown. And Mr. Rossiter, we'll begin with you. You have up to 1 minute.
I've had the pleasure since February to visit over 40 neighborhood associations and go to the meetings and listen to citizens. All of our neighborhoods have areas that they can improve. And I think we should support those improvements being throughout our city, and would continue to feel that way.
Ms. Miller-Blakely, up to 30 seconds.
Improvement in neighborhoods. We have to have political will. As a council, as an administration, if we have political will and we invest in our communities, we invest in our resource centers, then when it comes to neighborhood improvements, we won't have a major problem. We'll have a problem with infrastructure and what have you, but just giving resources to certain.
Ms. Miller-Blakely, we will stick with you on this next topic, to-go cups in Savannah.
Okay, to-go cups in Savannah. I don't have a problem with to-go cups in Savannah. I just want it to be equitable across the board. If you can do it downtown, I would like to see it done in other areas of the city. It looks suspect. We look suspect as a city when you allow things to happen in one area of the city, but you don't allow it to happen in other areas of the city. I don't have a problem with it. I just want it to be equitable across the board.
Continuing the conversation with you, Mr. Rossiter, 30 seconds.
I am very excited to say that I totally agree with your position on to-go cups. I think equity is a key place there. If you can do it on Broughton Street, you should be able to do it on Victory Drive or further south or further west. Thank you.
Mr. Rossiter, we're continuing with you for this next topic, term limits for alderman positions.
Actually, this is a moot issue, as I understand it. Term limits will be enacted effective with the election coming in, and so I think it's great. When people take public office, it should be based on service and not trying to get another job. And after a 39-year teaching career, I can assure you I did not get into this race for another job, but rather to serve the people of Savannah.
Ms. Miller-Blakely, your rebuttal.
Well, Patrick, that's something I agree with you on as well.
Okay, we are halfway through this first forum, candidates. We will continue now with you, Ms. Blakely, Miller-Blakely. Blighted property, you have up to 1 minute.
Blighted properties in our city is in our marginalized and low-wealth communities. I think that the city needs to come up with a plan to give individuals who cannot afford to renovate those blighted properties some type of grant, some type of assistance. We give a lot of money. Now that I sit down under that gold dome, I see where a lot of our resources go, and I think that we need to do something to help our citizens with blighted properties. We just have to have the political will to do it, and then if we do it, we won't have to worry about as much blighted property because individuals will be able to renovate those properties and to fix those properties to the way they need to be in order to make our city a beautiful city. All over, not just in certain areas. Thank you.
And Patrick Rossiter, 30 seconds, your thoughts.
Property ownership comes with responsibility. Responsibility is the upkeep and maintenance of your property. And I would think that we need to maintain our view on blighted properties, identify them, work with the homeowner to try to get things remedied, and maybe point them in the right direction of any assistance that might be available on a local, state, or local level partnerships in that area. It might be a great idea.
Our next topic, Patrick Rossiter. You have up to 1 minute to answer this or to discuss your statement on this next topic, recidivism in Savannah.
When I was head of adult education in Savannah for 9 years, one of my first acts were to make sure that we had adult literacy, GED programs in Savannah Impact and in the Chatham County Jail. Education, job training, those are the keys for making sure the recidivism rate remains low. And I would just say this, the focus on education in this city is critical for youth, for, as we mentioned in this case, recidivism, and we need to follow through and support those through both private and public partnerships as well as government entities like Savannah Tech. Thank you.
And Alicia Miller-Blakely, your thoughts.
Idle hands and idle minds is a devil's workshop. If we give our children something to do, if we give them education, jobs, put programs in our community centers, you will see a paradigm shift in our city. We have to have political will to want to do. We have to engage our young people. Individuals who's committing crimes, they're committing crimes because there's nothing here.
We will move on now to the next topic. Alicia Miller-Blakely, you have up to 1 minute. Your thoughts on the Metropolitan Planning Commission.
The Metropolitan Planning Commission is a very good organization. I often wonder, why does a city have a planning department when we have the Metropolitan Planning Commission that is supposed to do what needs to be done for our city? I'm glad that they're there. I use them a lot when I have questions, issues, and concerns, and I applaud their work. Thank you.
Patrick Rossiter, 30
the
seconds.
MPC plays a vital role. It provides citizen input, business input, and again, starts the collaborative movement that's necessary for effective government here in town. So thank you very much.
We'll continue with you, Patrick Rossiter. You have up to 1 minute on this topic, a rock and roll marathon.
The Rock and Roll Marathon in Savannah. I think we have to realize that every time we have an issue, we have to balance issues. In this case, the inconvenience, the road closures, the blocks, versus the economic development that the Rock and Roll Marathon brought in. So I think it's critical that we weigh all that in and we move forward with decisions and view that the same way if another application comes in from the Rock and Roll Marathon or some other group that's going to bring thousands of people, into this city to spend money.
Alicia Miller-Blakely, 30 seconds for your position, please.
I didn't have an issue with the Rock and Roll Marathon. I look at the Rock and Roll Marathon the way I look at St. Patrick's Day. It is an economic driver for our community, and I welcome it back if it did come back, but I would just ask that they put certain parameters in place so that it would be beneficial, not to just certain areas of the city, but to the whole city as a whole. I actually worked for the Rock and Roll Marathon. I met a lot of people, and I thought it...
We will continue now with the next topic, and we'll stick with you, Ms. Miller-Blakely. The City Arena and Canal District.
The City Arena was supposed to be an economic driver for the first district. $169 million was invested in that arena. We thought that that arena was going to create individuals that had not been legacy contractors. They were going to create some millionaires in our city. That was not the case. The arena is a beautiful building, but it has issues. It has its flaws. The Canal District, that's a whole nother conversation within itself. What I'd like to see is not individuals in those areas be displaced and forced out of their communities. And if certain people have it the way that they want it, that's what's going to happen.
Patrick Rossiter, your rebuttal, you have up to 30 seconds.
It's absolutely amazing. The facility has been open less than a year and it's already been chosen as the #1 arena for under 10,000 participants. That's a credit to the mayor, it's a credit to the alderman, it's a credit to everyone that had the foresight to place the arena there. I congratulate them. There are other issues with labor and things of that nature can be worked out as we go.
Mr. Rossiter, let's stick with you for the next topic. Your position on decorum and civility of elected officials.
Very good. I'm not going to hide, that was my main reason for getting into this. I think there's a way to do, there's a way to act, there's a way to treat other people. I think Coach Russell at Georgia Southern had it right when he said, do right. That was his only training rule, do right. I think everyone that's on that council and everyone that's running for council knows exactly what doing right is all about. And I think we need to start working together and deciding that the betterment of the city is dependent upon how well we can collaborate.
And Alicia Miller-Blakely, up to 30 seconds. Your thoughts?
I like to use the analogy. Matthew 21, verses 12 through 17 says that Christ went into the temple and turned the tables over because of the corruption. That's no more than what we're doing downtown. is letting individuals know what's going on with their tax dollars and what's happening under that gold dome. So if you want to say that
I'm going to give Mr. Rossiter a 15-second rebuttal on Ms. Miller-Blakely's position.
Well, I'm just going to come back with blessed are the peacemakers, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And I believe there's a lot more to be said about making peace than causing the other stuff.
We will give you 15 seconds as well, and we're done with this topic after your 15 seconds, Ms. Miller-Blakely.
well, when you have barriers put up against you where you can't even get items on the agenda, then you have to say things. You have to rattle the apple cart. You have to speak up and speak loud. We are here in America.
And Ms. Miller-Blakely, we will continue this conversation with our next topic. You have up to 1 minute. Hyundai Meta Plant.
I think it's a great opportunity for our city, for our community. I just hope that individuals will take advantage of it, especially individuals who are not privy to certain job skills here in our city. I'm so thankful that Savannah Tech is offering training for individuals that want to be a part of the Hyundai plan. And I think it's a great thing, and I applaud it.
Patrick Rossiter?
I apologize, I did not hear the topic.
Yes, okay. Hyundai Meta Plant. You have 30 seconds, sir.
30 seconds. Thank you very much. This is the greatest economic opportunity since Oglethorpe stepped off the boat onto the bluff. I think we've got to be prepared. We've got to get all of our citizens ready. The thought of intro salary starting at $22,000 a year based on training, that's a wonderful economic opportunity for our citizens. What we have to do is get our students and our people that want to get into this work, get the training necessary.
Patrick Rossiter, we will stick with you on the next topic, litter in our community. You have 1 minute.
What can you say about litter in the community? It's the citizens' responsibility to take care of their trash. Our city maintenance department does a wonderful job picking up, recycling that which is recyclable, as well as the trash pickups. I think our city services in that area have been great. I think there's always room for improvement, but I think we've got the right people in the right place.
And Ms. Miller-Blakely, your thoughts on litter in our community? You have 30 seconds.
First of all, I want to say congratulations and shouts out to Alderwoman Keisha Gibson-Carter. She started a program called Too Legit to Lit. We need to do that across the city. We have to educate our citizens on the importance of keeping our city clean, keeping our city presentable. And we as a city, as a council, as a government, need to give our citizens the tools that they need.
We will continue now with the next topic and stick with you, Ms. Miller-Blakely. Development in Savannah.
Oh, development is growing at a rapid race. Development. We have to watch our development. If we don't watch it, we will probably lose our historic designation as a city. And I'm not talking just to be saying that. I'm saying it because I know the people in Washington, D.C. who actually gives us the designation. We have to be careful of what we develop. And another thing, our city has to be more proactive when it comes to development by utilizing individuals here in our city to do the development. That has not been the case. I am also a union member with ILA Local 1414, and we have many unions here in our city that can be a part of the development.
Patrick Rossiter, your thoughts on development in Savannah? You have 30 seconds.
economic development in the area. It's all part of a master plan. We have to make sure the growth that's coming our way, that the development matches that growth, and not lose sight of the overall view of the city of Savannah and its beauty and its function. So I would say just keep an eye on our development, but support it in any way we can.
We'll continue the conversation now with you, Mr. Rossiter. 1 minute response. Homelessness in Savannah.
I've heard our mayor say several times that people didn't choose to be homeless. It's not a crime. I think there's certain things we can do with the homeless population here. I think we provide many of the services through the collaborative agencies. I am very concerned about the panhandling on the medians of highways and streets in the city of Savannah. It's just a danger that's getting ready to happen, and someone's going to get hurt. I would like to see us do something to try to at least change the way that's being done. But we need to provide all the services that we can to help and try to get these people back onto a road to whether it be recovery from addiction or getting back into homes. That would be wonderful. And that's the one path to wealth.
Alicia Miller-Blakely, your thoughts on homelessness in Savannah. 30 seconds.
We have a homeless authority here in Savannah, but we also have 501c3 status organizations that's doing a lot to help our homeless population. The Dive is one of the organizations that we have here in the city that is doing phenomenal things for our homeless population. But we also have to have political will to do ordinances and put policies in place so that we can govern homelessness in a way that it's not going to be populating our community the way that it is.
We have reached the point in our first political forum where we have closing statements. And we will begin in alphabetical order as we did at the beginning of the forum. Ms. Miller-Blakely, you will have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Thank you. As I said earlier, I am Alderwoman Alicia Miller-Blakely for the beautiful city of Savannah, Post 2 at large. A lot of you know who I am. You know what I represent. You know that I am for and by the people. I speak to the residents. I believe in transparency of government, and I will do and continue to do what I've been doing to educate you, the public, on what's happening under our gold dome. I'm responsible for your taxes because when you pay into a system of taxation, you want to get a return on your investment. I ask that you remember in November to send me back to City Hall to continue to do what I've been doing for you for the last.
Now it is time for Mr. Rossiter and your closing statement. You have 1 minute.
Thank you to all the sponsors for putting this on today. Savannah does not need to be seen as the place where you can turn on the Thursday night TV and see a reality show where bickering and fighting and screaming and yelling is going on. That's unacceptable in my opinion. Treating people in a respectable manner is critical. Working across the aisle in the sense of nonpartisan elections, that would be working across the directions, the neighborhoods. I think it's important that a city as gorgeous as Savannah put forth the image that it should be putting forth. That's why I'm in this race. I'm going to use my collaborative skills to work to make the process better for all the citizens of Savannah. Thank you.
Alicia Miller-Blakely, Patrick Rossiter, your candidates, Savannah, for Alderman at Large Post 2. We want to thank both of you for participating in today's forum. Can I get all of you here in our live audience to give them a round of applause, please? Candidates, again, thank you very much. And right now, we will take a 10-minute break. We'll be back shortly. Remember, we are streaming live on WSAV.com.